In this video, I want to show you how to work the knitted cast on. This isn't a cast on method that I use very often anymore, but when you are first learning to knit, the knitted cast on is one of the simplest ways of casting on. So if you are a beginner, this is a great method for you to try. It's also really handy as a method when you are wanting to add stitches onto an existing project. So when I add mitered squares to a blanket in a join as you go method, I use the knitted cast on for those as well. The knitted cast on starts by making a slip knot. You want to leave enough tail so that you have some yarn to sew in your ends once you have finished your project, but you don't need to leave a really long tail because we cast on and use yarn from the ball when we are working those cast on stitches. To make your slip knot, you just want to cross your yarn over so that you make a loop. Pop your finger and thumb through that loop and then grab the tail that is attached to the ball, not your short end, and pull it through that loop, and then you can pull your tail and it will tighten that knot up. Then you can grab your needles, pop this loop onto your needle, and if you pull the yarn that is attached to the ball, not the short tail, then it should close up that slip knot, and that slip knot is our first stitch cast on. Working the knitted cast on is very much like knitting a row of stitches, except instead of knitting a row of stitches that is already there, we are creating a stitch every time we knit one. You start your very first stitch by grabbing your right hand needle and popping it into this one stitch that is on your needle from left through to right. So you're not going to come through the stitch from right to left, you want to go in it from left to right. Then you want to grab your working yarn, that's the yarn that is attached to your ball of wool, and then you're going to pull a loop through like that and pull it to make it a little bit bigger. Now what you don't want to do is to just pop this stitch on your needles because it will not look neat, so you want to work a little quick step that will twist the stitch as it goes on your needles, and that gives a nice neat finish. The way we do that is to get this left hand needle here, you're going to swing it round so that it is to the right of this stitch on your right hand needle, and then you're going to pop it into that stitch from right through to left. Slide it onto your left hand needle and then remove your right hand needle, and you can give it a little pull to tighten, and you can see that we've gone from one stitch to two stitches. Let's do that once more. You're going to go into this stitch we've just created from left to right, pick up a loop of your working yarn, that's the yarn that's attached to your ball. Make your loop a little bit bigger if you need to have a little bit of wiggle room, and then you want to twist the stitch as you add it onto your left hand needle. So you're going to swing your left hand needle round to the right hand side of this stitch on your right hand needle. You're going to pop it through that stitch, and then you're going to slide it onto your left hand needle and remove your right hand needle, and then just give it a little pull to tighten. And each time we work that process, we add one more stitch. One final time for you, pop your needle into your stitch from left to right, scoop up a loop of your working yarn and pull through. And then as you add your stitch onto your left hand needle, you're going to swing your left hand needle round, pop it into the stitch from right to left, not from left to right. Slide it firmly onto your left hand needle, remove your right hand needle and pull your tail to tighten up. And you'll work this process until you have cast on as many stitches as you need, and then once you've done that, you just start knitting your row. You don't need to turn your work like you do with other cast on methods because your working yarn is already at the right hand side of your work. And that's how you work the knitted cast on. Alongside the knitted cast on, it's really handy to know how to cast off. So if you don't already know how to do that, I'm going to link the video here, and I'll see you again for another video soon.